My ski bindings broke midway down a treacherous slope. It was no accident. Life as an extreme sports enthusiast never prepared me for this kind of betrayal. "You will definitely not forget this descent," Bradley had promised with a smirk. Now fighting for my life in the icy wilderness, I uncovered a deadly plot woven by my wife and my trusted pilot. Their scheme was chilling, but my revenge even colder. This is my saga of deceit and retaliation. Enjoy watching it. Everyone possesses their own source of entertainment in life. I am particularly fond of leading an active lifestyle, constantly seeking out new thrills and adrenaline rushes. Over the years, I have experimented with various activities such as skydiving, skiing on challenging slopes, bungee jumping from bridges, and much more. My life has been vibrant, brimming with a diverse range of experiences. I have always strived to align my work with my lifestyle. Initially, I worked as a skydiving instructor and also dabbled in selling sports equipment. Eventually, I ventured into entrepreneurship, starting with a small shop that exclusively offered high-quality products. Recognizing the critical role that product quality plays in the lives of my customers, I ensured that only the best items were available. As my business flourished, generating increasing profits, I found that my colorful life lacked a crucial element: family warmth and comfort. I was seldom at home, constantly engrossed in work or seeking out new adventures. However, a significant event altered the course of my life. When a couple of friends expressed their desire to have a unique wedding experience by parachuting down to their ceremony, I eagerly assisted them. Guiding them through the process and ensuring a memorable experience, I provided them with a wedding gift they would cherish forever. It was during this event that I met Meredith, a captivating brunette who captured my heart. Meredith and I have been happily married for over 15 years. Our lives have been anything but dull. While she may not share my penchant for extreme activities, Meredith enjoys traveling the world with me. Our frequent trips to the mountains, where I indulge in skiing down steep slopes, have been a highlight of our adventures together. "Shall we head to the mountains next week?" I inquired of my beloved wife. "Yes, Stephen. I adore the fresh mountain air," Meredith replied. "Excellent. I will make all the necessary arrangements for our trip." "You are silent today, Meredith. Is everything okay?" "Oh, Stephen, everything is fine. I might just be a bit tired." "Well, take a look around you. There's so much beauty to admire. There's no time for sleep. There's still so much to explore," I said with excitement. "Stephen, I understand your enthusiasm, but I think I'll stay back at the hotel today. I'm feeling weak and tired. Maybe I'm coming down with something." "Oh no, dear. But I will conquer that challenging route today." "How will I do it without my biggest supporter? I thought you would fly with me in the helicopter and cheer me on before the descent. Honey, I wish I could, but today you'll have to do it on your own. I have faith in you. You will succeed for sure." "All right, darling. Wait for me at home with a victory." "Absolutely, dear. Just be careful." "Okay, bunny." It was a beautiful morning. The sun was shining brightly, illuminating the snowy peaks, dazzling in their whiteness. We were approaching the slope I was about to conquer by helicopter. "The weather is perfect today," said Bradley, the helicopter pilot who brought me here. "Indeed, Bradley, the beauty is breathtaking. It's going to be an unforgettable journey." "Yes, Stephen, you won't forget this descent," Bradley said with a grin. "I'm sure of it." "So, Stephen, here's a locator beacon. Use it to let us know your location in case of emergency. If something goes wrong, press this button to send a distress signal and we'll come to your aid." "Got it, Bradley. Thank you so much. Hopefully I won't need it. Of course, hopefully not." "Stephen, as a professional, I admire your skills, but let's focus on the task at hand." "Very well then, Bradley. You may proceed. I will begin my descent as well. Best of luck to you, Stephen." Bradley departed in a helicopter, leaving me alone on the snowy peak. It was a truly remarkable mystery. The slope appeared daunting, yet I was confident in my abilities. After gearing up with my skis, I set off down the slope. The experience was exhilarating as I navigated around rocks and cliffs with ease. However, things took a turn for the worse when my ski binding suddenly broke, causing me to tumble down the steep incline. The fall seemed endless, and I lost consciousness. Upon regaining consciousness, fear gripped me as I realized the severity of my situation. Miraculously, I had survived the fall, albeit with a few broken ribs. Despite the pain, I was grateful that my injuries were not more severe. As I tried to assess my surroundings, the desolate landscape filled me with a sense of isolation. Despite the challenges ahead, I remained determined to survive. Examining my damaged skis, I discovered that the binding had been tampered with intentionally. The realization puzzled me, but I pushed the thought aside. My immediate priority was finding shelter and warmth in this unforgiving environment. Clad in suitable attire, I knew it was not enough to withstand the harsh conditions. Trudging through the deep snow seemed futile, as each step led to sinking further into the icy terrain. I fashioned makeshift snowshoes out of broken skis to navigate the snowy terrain in search of temporary shelter. Fortunately, I stumbled upon a small cave and used my matches to start a fire, providing much-needed warmth. With limited supplies and the intention of not staying long, I melted snow in a small iron mug for hydration. Despite my efforts, my body was in pain, covered in abrasions and bruises, and breathing was difficult due to broken ribs. Using an elastic bandage, I tightly wrapped my torso for support. I retrieved the beacon given to me by Bradley, only to discover it was non-functional and lacked a power source. It became clear that this was all part of a plan to eliminate me and cover it up as an accident. My only hope was to reach the designated pickup location, which was still several miles away according to the navigator. However, traversing such a distance in the harsh cold without skis and in my current condition proved to be a daunting task. With darkness approaching and my strength waning, I decided to rest for the night on a small, snow-free hill covered in dry grass. As the sun rose the next morning, I mustered the strength to continue my journey. Despite the excruciating pain, I persevered, determined to reach my evacuation point. Finally, I arrived at the designated location, only to find it devoid of any signs of life or a base. It was a desolate and uninhabited place. I felt trapped and overwhelmed with despair, unsure of what to do next as my energy dwindled. Helplessly, I collapsed into the snow, feeling defeated. I struggled to fall asleep, but the overwhelming drowsiness compelled me to forcefully shut my eyes. In a state of semi-consciousness, I could faintly hear the sound of dogs barking. I couldn't discern whether it was my imagination or if there were actually dogs, or perhaps even a pack of wolves. Exhausted and devoid of strength, I succumbed to unconsciousness. When I regained consciousness, fear gripped me, and I attempted to abruptly stand up, only to realize that my body was incredibly weak. A man stood before me, urging me to calm down. He informed me of my location, and I asked if I was in my own house. He replied that I was fortunate, as he rarely ventured into this area, but happened to come across me while riding a sleigh with dogs. To my surprise, he expressed astonishment that I was still alive. He informed me that it was my second chance at life. Curious, I inquired about his name, to which he responded, "Stephen." Grateful for saving my life, I thanked him and asked for his name in return. He introduced himself as David. I then questioned how I ended up in such a predicament. David acknowledged that he noticed my transmitter and believed that someone who didn't want me to survive had given it to me. Perplexed, I expressed my confusion as to why someone would go to such lengths. David advised me to be cautious of those closest to me, as it could potentially be one of them. I thanked him for the advice and decided to stay with him for a few days before eventually returning home. Upon my secretive return, I approached my house cautiously, taking my time. As I passed by, I noticed that the window was open. I had intended to surprise Meredith, the one person I never doubted. However, my plans were abruptly halted when I overheard Meredith speaking sweetly on the phone. She mentioned collecting my belongings and agreed to meet someone. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks, causing cold sweat to break out on my forehead. Who was she speaking to so affectionately? Doubt and betrayal consumed me, leading me to change my mind about going home. Instead, I decided to follow Meredith, overwhelmed by a sense of betrayal. I got into my car and began to wait, plagued by a terrible feeling of betrayal. Soon, Meredith departed from the residence and entered her vehicle. I trailed her. We arrived at a secluded residence. Meredith went inside. I cautiously approached the house and surveyed the area. There was an additional entrance in the backyard. The door was unlocked, and I cautiously entered the house. Suddenly, I overheard voices coming from one of the rooms. My intuition urged me to grab my phone and record everything that was unfolding. I stealthily approached the door and slid the phone into the gap of the slightly ajar door. Bradley, I'm still unable to calm down. What if he survives? What if they suspect us of foul play? Will they discover him? Meredith, do not fret. Everything was meticulously planned. I sabotaged his ski binding. It would not have withstood the descent from such a steep mountain. The distress signal is also malfunctioning. He had no chance of making it out alive. The lack of a signal indicates that he has not returned, and no one has located him. The amount of time spent in that freezing wilderness is insurmountable, even for a seasoned individual. You should have seen that slope. Indeed. He broke his neck there and is now buried under tons of snow. He will not be found there for sure. It was an unfortunate accident. We orchestrated this meticulously for months to avoid any suspicion, so do not worry. Soon, you will be officially declared a widow and inherit all of Stephen's assets. And his body will remain in the snow. That is reassuring. I am eagerly anticipating when I will finally possess all his wealth. Perhaps only then will I find peace. Meredith responded anxiously. I still have a solution to offer you. Come here, my dear, Bradley said eagerly as he removed Meredith's undergarments. At that moment, I could not bear it any longer and burst into the room. So I will not survive, correct? Yes. Damn you all. I am more alive than any of you, I yelled, seized Bradley and hurled him against the wall, rendering him unconscious. Stephen, are you all right? Stephen, please calm down. You have misunderstood everything, Meredith screamed. The unexpected and instantaneous plan for my revenge materialized in my mind. Without wasting any time, I transported those individuals to the backyard and swiftly loaded them into the car. Subsequently, I made my way to the airfield where my small private plane awaited. By the time they regained consciousness, we were already soaring through the air. The creatures before me had awakened, and with a deranged expression, I inquired, Meredith, what were you thinking? I yelled as she screamed hysterically. Stephen, please calm down. Let us resolve this matter in a composed environment. Let's talk, Bradley pleaded, his voice filled with fear. No, Nitz. I overheard your deceitful conversations. I know exactly what you lying individuals were plotting. No more talking. Enjoy the flight, I declared, firmly gripping the steering wheel and opening the aircraft hatch. I forcefully ejected those individuals from the plane at a considerable altitude. Their screams of despair filled the air as they realized that the fleeting moments of their freefall seemed like an eternity of terror and hopelessness. However, my intention was not to end their lives, despite my strong desire to do so. In their panic, they failed to notice that I had securely fastened them to parachutes. These parachutes were equipped with automatic opening devices, eliminating the need for them to manually pull any rings to initiate the parachute's deployment. After some time, I witnessed the parachutes unfurling, providing a glimmer of relief for those bastards as they descended towards the ground. Naturally, they were grateful to have survived the ordeal. However, the police were already awaiting their arrival. I contacted a trusted friend of mine who had connections within the law enforcement. Consequently, the authorities swiftly arrived to apprehend those individuals. I handed over the recorded video evidence of their incriminating conversation. Now those bastards will spend a significant amount of time behind bars. I endeavored to return to my normal life, finding solace in new triumphs and my adventurous pursuits. However, I was no longer eager to invite anyone into my life.